God, I hope I'm right. We'll see. Get into the game. Vincent Dust, take it away.
Thank you very much, Kyle. Indeed, we are actually straight into the matchup. We've already got a bit of bloodshed on the server. CR4ZY and forZe duking it out on Inferno. CR4ZY on the CT side. forZe already with a post plant. 3v3 with CR4ZY rushing up Banana. Z-Power here with a Glock though, gonna silence and suppress Toxic and Sensei. And that should be the round to follow, especially as DemQQ has taken a stray headshot down to 6 HP. So he's getting out of there. And forZe hot off the back of the train loss, as the desk was talking about, looking to try and make amends here on Inferno Dust.
No, that's exactly the case, and they're on the map that they're statistically the best on. I'm actually surprised that CR4ZY picked into this map, considering their own record on it. At least that's the HLTV info that I saw, was that this was CR4ZY's pick, so definitely a little bit surprised to see that. And, you know, yeah, I expect forZe to kind of have their way with CR4ZY on this map. Like they had the crazy upset loss on Train, but you have to think about sample size, and you can't let that get in your head too much. You have to think about what's happened over the longer period of time, and over time, forZe is definitely shown to be one of the best teams in the CIS region, and I fully expect them to recover, as they were kind of talking about in the desk.
I would certainly agree, but if today has told me anything, it's like, just put all your expectations at the door and just allow yourself to enjoy the Counter-Strike, allow it to wash over you here, Dust, because honestly, yeah, forZe on paper should be taking this one pretty convincingly, but paper means nothing in terms of Counter-Strike.
Yeah, so we are going to see forZe with the 3 MAC-10s. Looking to pressure Banana, which is no surprise. They're a very B-heavy team, especially when we get the rifle round, which we'll talk about a little bit later. As right now they're playing just kind of more default, just getting top banana control, getting control of apartments. That's just kind of getting your foundation on your T side, right? You want all your options open. You want to push CTs back. You want to deny them information on vision, top, middle, or understanding what's going on banana. You want to, you know, make them scramble their rotations a bit, or make them have to gamble their rotations. And so forZe is really just kind of, you know, laying that groundwork, and eventually they'll make a decision on where they want to take this bomb, which it seems like it's going to be B. And unfortunately for them, a little bit, it is going to be a 3-man B bomb site that they're coming into, but they still are going to have the superior firepower at the end of the day, so they might be able to just bust through it anyway.
They are moving into a scout, which can, well, I was about to say, soften them up, but Almaze has just absolutely crushed the head of Sensei instantly. Psycho line up for him with the CZ, but it was a jumping player that bypassed most of his bullets, and Almaze tanked that on the head. But his life has been sacrificed to the CS gods, and in return, they have been blessed with a second round. So they're okay with that trade-off, and forZe will be steamrolling ahead to a 2-0 lead. Looks like CR4ZY will try and save on to the FAMAS and the Deagle. Wouldn't be too bad, but forZe, this is more like what we're expecting to see from.
Yeah, this is definitely a little bit more of the reality that we were expecting. So almost like normalcy is being established, I guess you could say, in a way. As the Deagle and FAMAS will be saved here by Toxic and DemQQ. So they'll be able to try to put them to use in the next round. They won't be able to buy really anything around it, obviously. Maybe a P250 or something like that here and there. And, well, wait, what the? Huh? Unfortunately, I think Z-Power kind of got in the way there of another interaction that was taking place and had his head clean ripped off by his own teammate, but still able to, you know, get the buyback. And they still are up against now, essentially, a fully saved CR4ZY because none of their guns carried over. Just some pistols.
Eagle with a bit of Kevlar behind it on Toxic. But pretty easy banana control as a result of the complete lack of nades or weapons or really anything. So they've gone for a stack on towards Arches. They've got a third player over in the form of Toxic with his Deagle on second mid, but it's only CR4ZY that's watching B by himself with the USP. To be fair to him, he's actually doing a pretty solid job of holding off the onslaught with his USP. He's tanked Almaze down to 28, but this is where the flood of Ts should be more than enough to sweep away CR4ZY. They saw that boost up. They know there's a second player there, and there's another team kill. Far from ideal players coming in from forZe, but it shouldn't stop them from taking the round at least.
No, you wouldn't expect so. Should be able to clean this one up here, as they are indeed sniffing out all the CTs that are on this B-bomb site and dealing with them efficiently. They lost 2 players, but they can keep the AKs carried over at the very least and should be able to buy around it. And that 1-4B opening, by the way, that you saw forZe just use is something that they're going to use a very high percentage of the time. I know a lot of other teams like to do like 2 or 3B while they have like a couple of players getting apartments control and stuff like that as a default, but forZe's default very much is the 1-4B, either like Flit or Face Crack, kind of lurking alt, and then the rest, you know, those 4 players really trying to get top banana control as quickly as possible. So you're going to see that opening quite a lot, I would imagine. As they are going to get slowed down a little bit this time around due to CT utility. And so they do kind of have to just sit back at T-ramp for now. But I'm sure eventually they're going to see them start flexing their way up B once again. And indeed, there it comes the pop flash, and then the 4 Ts will be making their way up B.
Yeah, I wonder how much homework Crazy have, pardon me, how much homework Crazy have done in the lead up to this matchup, if they know this propensity for forZe to go for these stacks, and if they do, what do they do to try and deal with it, you know, to bypass this issue?
Yep. Again, you're going to see this 1-4B, I would say, like a good 60-75% of the time from forZe. It's not to say that they won't at times get aggressive up middle, because they certainly will. They kind of use this as like a conditioning tool where they force you to respect B quite a lot, and it allows them to have a little bit easier access to mid later on when you start feeling like you have to 3-stack B. As we do see them setting up their utility for the B execute here, or perhaps a fake, as that bomb is tucked into bottom middle. So it seems like they are, once again, just looking to put the pressure on at B. They have indeed forced Sensei into CT spawn, but they're going to hit this A side now.
Flip going to be wrapping outside a balcony. The timing is good for 2. And that cracks open here nicely. 2 players very low from them, but at least they have gained the ground, and Jerry side sweeping, pincering out. Sensei's life has been deemed forfeit, and now Crazy in for another save. I think they're lining up as though they're going to go for a save at least. I don't know that these players are necessarily low HP. That's looking like a 4-0, a very brisk start for forZe. And this is more like what we were expecting to see. Jerry will be getting plucked off from the bridge, but it doesn't stop how the round is going to be ending up.
Yeah, and then one thing that's important is, like, just because forZe open up 1-4B a lot doesn't mean they're going to always be ending B quite a lot. They use it to set up a lot of different stuff. It's just more about denying information while also keeping tabs at what's going on at A with either Flit or Face Crack kind of lurking the apartments, or playing towards top middle alone and just kind of making sure CTs aren't getting too frisky and getting too aggressive on that side of the map. So while you can do your homework and understand that they have that opening, I mean, for one, you can't count on the fact that they're going to do it every single time, and there's not necessarily a direct counter against it that they can just pull off consistently either. So it's a little bit like easier said than done as far as, okay, I've watched their demos, I know that they do this, I need to stop it. It's a little bit harder to actually put it into work.
I may have to come up with something on the fly then, and far from ideal start for Crazy. forZe find the opening pick with Jerry's AK-47 through the smoke on Banana, and it's just still Psycho with his AK and a couple of Kevlars behind him. Actually, everyone has Kev. But I mean, really, on train, if we rewind a little bit, it was really Crazy 11-4 half lead on the T side that really established their potential and prowess on train, and they had a very rough CT side. It was really the CT side that looked very vulnerable and very, very human at the end. And forZe were able to capitalize on most of that. So starting on the CT side, you wonder if this is going to turn into a bit of a nightmare fuel for Crazy. They're going to have a good crossfire with a flashbang in as well. And that flash actually tossed in from forZe. They've completely and utterly wrecked themselves on this endeavor. And the bomb's now dropped out with Jerry in the meanwhile just moving up Banana. What a strange turn of events that is.
Yeah, they just ran right into the setup there at our side, leaving Jerry all by his lonesome on the opposite side of the map without bomb possession. So this should be Crazy's first round on the board, and it should be a clean one. I wouldn't see Jerry really being able to do too much about bringing any more weapons down. So good response from Crazy to get around on the board pretty early, and to do so very efficiently, keep those guns rolled over. Big triple kill from Psycho.
Huge players, honestly, and that was one of the worst buys, one of the worst rounds in terms of an arsenal that Crazy have possessed. And they've made it work, and not just that, they've kept 4 players alive, 3 AKs and an AWP trade hands. Pretty much the best case scenario for CR4ZY going into that round. And now forZe on the back foot have to go through their funds, and they're by and large going to be depleted come the end of this buy time. Dust, like they're going for an AWP. Everyone's going to be very low here.
Yeah, I think it was about trying to just figure out how to squeeze out every last cent, get every last piece of utility and firepower that they could possibly hope for. Again, they're getting slowed down at getting control of Banana, but again, they always have that late pop flash set up to be able to reclaim it kind of more towards the mid-round. Indeed, that's what we're going to be seeing here, as you do see Z-Power lining up that flash left his team to work off of. It's caused CTs to draw back, putting a lot of trust on Sergey to play the site by himself. They do have DimQCube actually watching brackets, so they're going to have information on top mid. They're going to be able to continuously re-smoke it. Psycho's joined back over here at B.
That grenade doing very little, honestly.
Yeah.
Just chipping 3 players, but does put them into range of the M4 insta headshots. It's mainly AKs though across the board, so I feel like that grenade could have been held onto a bit longer. Just really nitpicking though. 40 seconds. forZe now looking to strike, looking to pounce as a unified, cohesive force. The flashbang, neutralizing 2 players. 30 seconds. They need these entries right here, right now. And Z-Power comes out with 1, trying to sprawl the CTs into action. Beautifully placed Molotov, though, denies a little bit longer on the aggression. The CT's quickly wrapping and pincering through the CT side. Now Sergey is still alive, push at the backside on the new boxes, and it is going to be a very solid hold come the end of this round for CR4ZY. They may very well kill him after time, but Toxic decides against that. And so CR4ZY pick up their 2nd round consecutively. Their money is now spiking.
This is a brilliant flash came in right there. I mean, it looked like forZe had them dead to rights. They were approaching the site so well. They had both CTs actually in the site. They had CT blocked off. They had already cleared coffins. It looked brilliant. They even had the guy's 2nd oranges basically dead to rights. I mean, the Galil spray was right on him, but then that flash came in and kind of knocked the spray accuracy off, and then they just got torn apart from that point forward. So really well done from CR4ZY to counter. And now they're going to get aggressive in alt mid with the pop flash set up here, and they're lining up some nice frags. Toxic being the one doing the bulk of it. A knife frag does come in, almost a 2nd one, but DimQQ says no, I'm not going to be having any of that. They're going to have a laugh about it as well, as CR4ZY are going to finish that one off on obviously a bit of an eco from forZe. Didn't expect much from the round anyway, but now we get back to playing some real Counter-Strike after all of whatever you would call that.
After a bit of DM, it felt like at times. But yeah, I mean, we're getting back into the real rounds with rifles and AWPs and all that good stuff. But you got to still say that forZe already with 4 rounds to kick the map off. And this is already a great start, regardless of what happens from here on out. Obviously, they want to add quite a few rounds to that. They have every chance to do so. Lots of grenades already used, including flashbangs, HEs, Molotovs, everything tossed into Banana. But still, forZe have moved up to the top of Banana, and no player below half HP. That is a bit of a win from forZe in terms of map control early on.
Again, it's that same 1-4 opening that we've been seeing time and time again, but this time there is going to be some mid-aggression taking place from DimQQ, but it may not matter as the site's being cleared out in the meantime, and Flit is going to be right in the right place to catch this mid-aggression. He spotted both other players as well, so FaceCrack and Almazer know exactly where the CTs are going to be coming from. As I say that, though, both elect to double back all the way through CT spawn to try to be a little bit fancy, but I think they're going to be found out.
Definitely seems the case, but they may be found out. That grenade is huge. The AWP shot from Sensei doesn't come through. He does have a Molotov. This can force away the player. Does it spread to Almazer? It does, but he still misses. Sensei misses the shot, and now Almazer can stay alive in new box and just whittle away that time a little bit longer, tickling the bomb, drawing Sensei out into the open,
Surely
and he knows he is going to be so gutted. If he landed the AWP shot, he would have won the round.
I mean, forget the AWP shot. How does he survive the fire? He was in it for so long. I can't believe he actually escaped. Sure, the missed op shot is something to be upset about, but the fact that he survived all the fire as well is mind blowing. It was a good thought from Crazy. I mean, knowing that they had me spotted to double back and go through CT. They even got the clinch smoke and nade kill on Ruins as well to get to 2-on-1. I mean, it always hurts to see a team play out something so effectively but still wind up losing. When your only mistake is a missed shot, it's hard to really critique them too much, you know?
That's one of those moments where Sensei needs to put that firmly in the back of his mind and try and forget that. And they capitalize on it. Toxic's position is so solid, and none of those flashbangs affected him at all. He was completely and utterly unscathed by that. And Sensei comes through. Is that a 2-for-1 shot? Meanwhile, it's a cleanup.
Yes.
Crazy back in. Rough buying the cards here as well now. Not really looking fantastic on the side of forZe with their Deagles and P250s. They have no nades to play with and no Kevlar to supplement any weapons they can maybe pry out of those cold dead hands of Crazy, but may not get those opportunities anyway. Sensei kicks off the round with an AWP frag, and banana control is being taken one more time. It's not like forZe can really afford to stand and fight in banana anyway. No flashbangs to proceed a push. Try and catch the CTs off guard. They're just hoping and begging for some scraps right now. Psycho not going to be bothered at range against the Deagle and P250s. And even if he does go down, then Sergis is here to clean up the rest. Play the janitorial duties. Bomb down and smoked off from T-Spawn. Remaining two terrorists, Face Crack and Jerry, have their work cut out for them. So it's looking like we are going to be tied up at 5-5. Crazy, pretty much a flawless round. Didn't have too much to contend with, but can only beat what's ahead of you, and they've done that and then some. Jerry has 40 seconds to decide if he wants to try and peek out and get some 1-deeks. And he's not going to be given the chance. There is the peek from DemQQ. And with 30 seconds on the clock, Crazy have struck a 5th round. As a result, though, of the fairly... I don't want to say that nothing really happened in the last round. It's just nothing really happened from forZe's perspective. They are now going to have the AKs and an AWP after their full save. Z-Power doesn't have that many grenades at his disposal, but the rest of the team does have more than enough. Just throw the Molotov. Oh, damage into Apps. Not too far off either. Not for the first time that Crazy have gone for an aggressive Apps play. So maybe forZe have read this situation perfectly, but they don't really get the rewards from it. Now, do they realize that Toxic is here? Now they do. The shoulder peek is good. Tries to spray through the wall, runs out of ammunition. But it's all a ruse, it's all a bait. They're trying to get DemQQ into position to strike with his M4. But it's only the 1-for-1 trade. That's probably not going to be good enough overall. But Sensei, look at the audacity of this play. He's actually pushed outside of Apps into second mid. He has the bomb under control. You never expect someone to be pushed out here. And so when forZe go back to try and pick up this bomb, Sensei is going to be in prime position to strike with this Tech 9. He may get peeked from the side, he gets legged, but doesn't die, and comes out with a kill of his own, and now he can reposition again. He is playing so much havoc here with forZe, but the rest of his teammates are going down without too much of a fight. Repositioning one more time on the bridge. This is really a masterclass on flanking, on lurking from Sensei on the CT side. And he's still alive, still with the AWP, still could feasibly pull off this round. That flick is sick onto Almeza, and now a 1v1. Jerry up against Sensei. He knew he had the AWP, he knew there was no room for error, hence the jumping shot. And such a nice try from Sensei, but it's not going to be enough to yield the round. I think Dust needs to pop off for a few moments, so I'll just continue casting until he is back. So forZe with a big round there, nearly capsizing across the rocks of Sensei, and that 4K was pretty spectacular. 12 kills to his name now. with 103 ADR. Couldn't really ask for too much more from Crazy Zorpa as the incendiary towards middle. I think Dust is back. Welcome back,
I've returned. Yeah, I had the delivery driver delivered something and my dog went absolutely berserk. So rather than you hear my dog bark for a solid 90 seconds, I decided to mute the microphone for a bit.
You nearly missed a really ridiculous... Well, you did miss a ridiculous play from Sensei, but he nearly pulled off a crazy clutch. It would have been something special.
So we are going to see forZe kind of changing things up a little bit, Vince. No early banana opening as they do the vast majority of the time. They're looking to really control top mid this time around. They have Flit keeping eyes on apartments, where Toxic is playing a forward angle. No doubt about that. It's just, you know, who's going to strike first is the real question. In the meantime, Sensei's drawn blood at middle with the AWP.
He's having a stormer here, Dust, especially after the last 4K he just picked up. I think that's going to do the world of good, and the AWP is very much a confidence-based weapon. So if he is feeling it, watch out forZe, especially already 1-0 down. Still, already 6 rounds on the board on the T half is whichever way this ends, a really solid half, and of course they could add a good 2 or 3 rounds to that mark. So Crazy have got to be very careful. Their economy is starting to build nicely. Crack through the smoke does spot the shoulder of Sergey's at the back of the new box. He knows he's here, but still comes out worse for wear. 7 seconds to play with. They need this entry. They need this bomb down right now. And just in time, they're going to get that planted down. Now, if a stray bullet went through the smoke onto the bomb planted, that would have been the round done. But instead, Z-Power is putting his AWP to use. And he's nullifying every single player that he sees in his crosshair. And the site has been locked down from forZe on the post plant, 7-5.
So forZe, having now won the last couple of rounds in a row, finally fighting back against Crazy, who are having quite the comeback here on their CT side. I mean, they were at one point looking like they were going to, you know, tie up the game and maybe even progress into the lead. In fact, they did have the game tied up for a brief moment in time, but now we're seeing forZe get back on the gas pedal a bit, which is really what they need, because they cannot be losing the opening series. Not whenever they are really the key favorite of the stage.
forZe just shimmering their way up middle. Through the smoke goes Almazer, and he's easy pickings for Psycho. There's no counteractive kill possible either. So a good start to the round for Crazy. Flashbang out, not really yielding anything as a result of no one pushing up quad. forZe actually have the bomb back on T-spawn, so they're going to have to go back and pick that up. It's going to waste some valuable time.
And that is true. We're just once again kind of going for that late B play, but it's going to be Jerry alone, just trying to nade that opper off the corner, which he has done successfully. So he's starting to deny some of that banana information to Crazy. The thing is, Crazy can kind of just continue to play their normal CT setup. They don't really have to adjust too much. So it's still going to have to come down to forZe finding some key kills. And Jerry finding that frag is very important, but no one from the A side has shifted, and they know that this is a sham.
Molly down. Toxic burns alive to a crisp. And forZe, not for the first time, are playing with fire with a time. It's the same position that we've seen him struggle with a couple of times already on New Box. Sergey's this time, Molotov and AK Spray will deal with him. Enough time for the bomb plant. But you just feel, Dust, when they push on the site with 10 seconds left, all it takes is for one jewel to go the wrong way, and the round is done. Like, they're really walking on eggshells here.
That wasn't obvious to their original plan either. I mean, I think what they were really trying to do was have Jerry cut off rotations or keep the B players in place while they just went for the A attack. But once Jerry gets the kill and gets deeper in, and they also are able to control Archway, they just decide to go for the mid B split. I mean, it's possible that it was their plan all along, but it just seemed like that was more of a mid round read, and it certainly worked out either way. They're going to get the 8th round on the board. And Crazy's economy is going to be quite grim now, so there's a great chance for forZe to really continue to build together a big T side.
Conditions were planted after that 4-0 start, after winning the pistol, and they're now building on top of that. And Crazy tries their may to sabotage the construction so far. It's been looking pretty grim for forZe. Now dealing with a half buy on CR4ZY. Looking good to maybe even hit double digits come the end of this half. Three-player stack on B. Just the one flashbang from Dem QQ. If he tosses this correctly, it could be a little bit sketchy for forZe, but they've now seen that smoke come out and plume in their face, and so they're going to decide better of pushing that. They're just going to hold fire. They don't mind playing this patiently. Not too much time has elapsed anyway in round 14.
Yeah, Triple B opening here for CR4ZY, just kind of gambling. Obviously, they have to come up with something crafty whenever they have limited resources like this. Just these pistols and a couple of smokes, which they can kind of use to keep refreshing top banana, which has been the favorite target of forZe, to try to just, you know, burn clock and give themselves a chance to get forced to push into a three-man stack with little time left so that they can maybe just get that slight disruption they need to stop them from having time to plant the bomb. As we say that, though, forZe are not really sure exactly where they want to take this just yet. They're being a little bit indecisive, waiting for pushes instead, which they're going to be gifted here at top banana, so that's going to give them a couple of kills. So now they have the 5-on-3.
I think it's just a very solid cerebral kind of call from Jerry, realizing that the economy for CR4ZY is probably bad, and it would push them into these desperation peaks and information gathering attempts. So eventually, if you sit back and you're patient enough, they'll basically walk into you, and that's pretty much what happened in that round. But obviously that was the appetizer. The main course now is the last round of the half, which will have CR4ZY on a very solid, healthy buy, including an AWP and 4 M4s, everything they could really ask for. Just missing a couple nades here and there. But forZe, can they navigate their way into a 5th consecutive round and hit their 10-5 halftime score?
That would be pretty massive, considering the recovery that CR4ZY was building up in the middle of the half, to be able to come back yourself, win 5 in a row, and get double digits on your T side. It's exactly the type of half, though, that forZe really need after what happened on Train. You have to feel, just to get that confidence and swagger back about them, kind of put things back to normal, so to speak. Getting shut down at banana a little bit, but they are looking to take top middle instead. Face Crack and Z Power being the ones kind of taking the charge of that.
Very brisk into the Archer's control. Smoke put down, going to force the attention towards Library. Psycho is watching that smoke. You can see Face Crack was not anticipating that. I think he heard the player running towards Library and assumed that the Archer's side would be pretty much vacant of any CT control. That was the wrong assumption to make, and flick across from Z Power. Flip's also getting entries through on the app side, through the smoke onto Toxic. Post plant coming up, and CR4ZY isolated from one another. Need to maybe play off one another, but Psycho has at least extended the odds a little bit in favor of his team, and now he's taking it away. But there is Jerry from Graveyard. Maybe a bit overzealous on his re-engage. If he waited a little bit longer, maybe the counteractive kill, I should say, or counter kill, and frag would have come hit the way of CSGO, but instead it's 10-5. And forZe into a very commanding position going through into our second map.
Yeah, kind of the expected result, considering forZe's track record on Inferno and considering CR4ZY being the new team. I mean, I guess it's a similar story to what we were preaching on Train, and it didn't turn out that way, but I think Inferno is even more firmly in forZe's map pool than Train was. And while there was some fight from CR4ZY in the middle of that half, the rest of it kind of went the way that you would expect. So we'll see if forZe can finish it off and get to the third map, or whether or not CR4ZY can show their own solid T side, show that they still have something left in them.
Still feel, Dust, maybe it's the person in me that saw the previous best of 3 and everything just kind of go the opposite way to as I was anticipating. I still feel like this match isn't quite over just yet. I think CR4ZY have a few more tricks up their sleeve. Could be a few more twists and turns come the end of this map. And if they're going to be moving into the solo stack, or the solo player, I should say, of Jerry, who's over on the CT side. Let's have full grenades at his disposal. He can throw down that smoke instantly, and there's the hitchy after it. Oh my god, that damage from the nade is so juicy. It's so deadly. And now the T is going to force their way and try and impose it onto Jerry. They do take him down, but he's done so much damage on his way out that it's going to be, I'm not saying easy for forZe, but definitely a doable endeavor to get themselves back into this round. And Blitz just going to flick across to the head of MQQ on Coffins, puts him down permanently. Toxic now, pushed at the back of the new boxes, doing a lot of damage. Sensei on the cross with his Glock is going to be able to side sweep Face Crack and clothesline him out of this. And even with Jerry's huge grenade, they still can't get it done.
No, not at all. Crazy, just really good on the trades there, being able to get a lot of space, just get out into the open and get the duels. Something that they were very successful on Train on that T side as well. Really well done by Crazy. That gets them right back into the game, especially if they can capitalize and get the 3-0 start all the way through, and then they'd really be back onto the game. Really could keep the 2-0 dream a possibility. It's not the expectation, but they definitely could still maybe pull out yet another upset. Never know.
Headshot with the CZ to kick the round off, and forZe quickly going to be more fluid in their defense, shimming across 4 players over onto the ace. Jerry with his 5-7 gonna think about peering into the abyss of middle. Nothing staring back at him. These are the kind of rounds, though, we feel does, like, honestly, Crazy need to use this utility. They need to try and systematically and slowly just get a grasp of how this map is currently shaping up. That's a good Molotov. That's going to be a freebie of a kill. Now, normally when somebody plants themselves aggressively on Banana, that would suggest it's going to be a 1-4 stack. So I think that does give Crazy a lot of information early.
Yeah, as you said, they're using their utility great to be able to kind of get information, get a kill, but they're still not 100% out of the woods just yet. They do have a 4-on-2, though, on the safe side. There is a quick flank coming through Banana, so if they get stalled for a little bit too long, they could get shot in the back, but it looks like they will be able to get out into the site effectively without having to worry about that too much, and now it's going to just force the remaining 2 force members to save their weapons. So well done by Crazy, well handled. For such a young team, the way that they approach the map and how they work together is already, like, you know, a positive trajectory, I think you can say. Like, they definitely have their wits about them, despite the lack of experience.
Absolutely. And a lot of the questions and question marks that I had going into the first map about, you know, if you're the underdog, a young, plucky kind of team, and you start to get the lead against a team that some of these players may very well look up to, a team that was challenging for those top 10 spots, as Adesk and yourself have talked about. When you get close to winning, do you choke it? Do you start to overthink things? Do you get anxious? Well, the answer was no. I mean, their CT side was rough, don't get me wrong, on Train, but they're able to bypass a lot of the issues and eventually get across the finish line. So we know they have it within them. And I think a team like this on T side fighting from behind, while the pressure's kind of off, I think that's only going to spell out good things for Crazy here going forward. Now, they are going to run into forZe with a decent-ish buy, maybe going for more of a half buy here, but they at least have some weapons to play with, so they can't take their eyes off this.
Crazy are working themselves into dangerous territory for forZe. Not quite done it just yet, though, but that's a nice little opening pick there. Aggression's going to come towards Banana here from both sides. Who's going to be the victor of the duel is going to be a really important piece of the puzzle. It looks like so far Crazy are continuing to chip away at forZe in this round. All that's left, there's some upgraded pistols, and to be fair, Almazer's made use of one. Quickly traded back, though, by Sensei, so at least limiting the bleeding out.
I managed to apply a bit of pressure to the wound, but eventually forZe will be bleeding out regardless. Smoke's now being tossed on towards the wraparound of Library. Face Crack with a USP, not much to really say from this. 5-7's a slight upgrade.
So the round goes as you'd expect, really. It's the next round where things get interesting. It's where we get a little bit of a better read on how the half's going to go when the first rifles come out from forZe and Crazy has to meet real resistance. How are they able to adapt their T-side to those challenges? Again, they've already somewhat made believers out of us by how they played Train. We at least have to respect them as a worthy opponent. But, you know, how far can they really take it? is the question. Again, fortunately, I should say, we don't have to speculate for too long. We get to kind of just watch and figure it out together as a community, but at least they've put themselves on a path to where it's possible to pull off the upset on forZe by winning these first few rounds.
No doubt at all. And if anything, that just adds the pressure. It just kind of mounts the task even further for forZe now in their first proper rifle round, including an AWP for Z-Power. So, I mean, if they do end up conceding this round, then the pressure is really and truly on. forZe will be in a lot of bother. And CR4ZY, at that point, will be looking pretty good for potentially tying us up or even taking the lead. So, forZe, how are they going to counteract this? 3 players on B early on, looking to try and establish a bit of banana control at least. Molotov tossed back to try and stop the initial push, and it is going to be successful.
They're shutting things down on all fronts for us so far, but now the nades are going to actually get crazy. They'll get forced through the smoke at middle. As Z-Power, with that, able to get the opening kill, but DimQQ is able to start driving up through lane. But look at the reaction from FaceCrack and Z-Power. They're absolutely shutting down this attack. It's all on DimQQ now.
I like that he's playing for the clutch rather than just the guaranteed plant. I really like that. It shows confidence in his own ability. And getting the kill onto Almeza does make this a more likely opportunity. Smoke has been put down, but there's a gap in there, and DimQQ could be walking into it. What? He just perforates the smoke and takes Z-Power off the server. And with it now, there's an open gap towards the B site. Is he really about to pull off this clutch plus ace? He has time for the plant as well. 30 seconds to play with. Jerry was positioning to keep both options alive, A and B. And now DimQQ in a position for a clutch and ace. One of the best plays, I'm sure, of his career is not going to miss. The clutch goes the way of CR4ZY. The economy broken for forZe. And this upset is now on.
Not even the clutch, but also the ace fence. All DimQQ. The entries up lane. The 1v3, I believe it was. It may have even been 1v4. Either way, a brilliant effort. That shot he hit through the smoke on Moto, though, is just so insane. I can't believe he's done that. I don't think anybody can. Ah, we got a game on our hands again, Vince.
Imagine from Z-Power's perspective, I'm thinking...
Oh, yeah, of course.
The gap in that smoke is possibly just gets the frag with the open, it's done. And he just, well, I'm going to just double tap you through a smoke, then no problems. Like,
that's 100% the moment where if that's in matchmaking, you're calling cheats immediately. Like, you've already right-clicked the scoreboard and reported that guy 100% of the time. For sure.
We kind of built up the scenario before the round took shape that if forZe lose it, they're in real trouble, economically speaking. They have reached that point, but one of the FAMASs, one of the only weapons they have, has struck gold early on. They're going to be tossing away that rifle, make sure the CTs can't get their hands on it. And Sensei is still watching, does land the shot, but FaceCrack somehow survives on 19 HP, so just wings him.
It's actually still kind of scary for CR4ZY right now because they're down a man. Sergey's been taken down halfway. They've gotten no real map control. I mean, they have top B, sure, but they have no presence in apartments or top middle, so they don't really know what's going on. They don't really understand how the CTs are positioned just yet. Now they've lost another to Flit, who's now going to, once he knows that things are safe, be able to grab that AK. This is looking really grim for CR4ZY now, Vince. This is a really rough 3-on-5 they have to do. Oh, no.
But did Sensei not see him?
He did, but he knew he couldn't do anything and had to run away. I mean, look at the clock.
I think his teammates didn't seem to really back him up that well, but as you say, the clock was pretty grim, so maybe that's more the case. And now Z-Power takes him down. That's an AWP. It's not just forZe winning a full kind of half-buy scenario, but they also take so many guns away. And man, if you panned over to DimQQ, he is literally the Harold meme right now. He's hiding the pain. It's like, what? I just aced, and we instantly lose to a half-buy. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah, how do you go from an ace clutch victory to that? That is leaps and bounds from each other on the success scale. I can't believe that's happened. that's got to be gut-wrenching if you're crazy. You've really got to feel the pain of that one. Hopefully they can kind of keep the composure, because they've been playing some really good Counter-Strike throughout this series, all in all. And now we do have a tactical timeout, so a little bit of extra talking going to be taking place here. Now we're going to get right back into the thick of it. Let's see if CR4ZY can bounce back from that. That certainly was a tough pill to swallow, I'm sure, but again, hopefully they can stay focused, because they've shown us a lot here, and I feel like they still have more to show. So we are going to see them put all their focus really on getting apartments control. They don't have any presence towards Banana, so they're definitely going to be going heavy-handed towards A.
Looking for the aggression towards middle, and App simultaneously flashbang out onto quad. Now DemQQ is going to push behind that. The Mac-10 leading the charge. The Mac-10, the first player to fall, the expendable player, but they need to get some trades behind that. Otherwise, the round will just slip away from them. Almaze is doing such a good job alongside Flit. Nithold is looking impenetrable. The Fortress has been placed down on the A site, and CR4ZY have no real way of dealing with this. Psycho spins around, gets at least one, but now two more players to come up with. He does have control over the bomb. He does have time at his disposal. This round isn't completely done, but only 6 bullets to play with from his perspective. And for all he knows, the CT's already stuck their way through onto the arches to cordon off any kind of retreat that he has planned. It's Z power there again. No smoke this time to be spammed up through. And it's looking like Psycho is going to end up conceding this round. It's so hard to see him clutch from this point.
Yeah, very true. He's out of time. He has no idea on TD positioning. Can't even collect the kill. Does find the one in apartments, but look at what it cost him. Down to 19 HP. He's trying to make the full sprint to B. I don't know if he can actually make it there in time. He might just make it to plant. The thing is, will he beat Z-Power, who will be able to watch the cross? Oh, he does actually have a smoke as well, but he's running with an AK out, and he does just get the bomb planted, but Z-Power knows he has to go for the plant and decides to push through the smoke and gets the dig. And there you have it. It was a nice attempt, but forZe are still going to come out victorious nonetheless. And that's going to put it at 12-9 with money low for CR4ZY. So pistols will come out. forZe look to push the 13 in this one, you'd imagine. Not much that CR4ZY can say about it either with just these pistols.
Nice try from Psycho, though. Honestly, I didn't give him too much of a hope, and yet he put it down to 1v1, nearly high. CR4ZY really impressing me. Flashbang through. That's a perfect flashbang, yielding the kill onto Sensei, and Flit's alive to tell the tale at 100% HP. Just what they were looking to start off with. Flashbang into middle peak. No one is home on the Archer's side, but Flit hungry for the opportunity to show that M4. Bomb down first, picked back up again from CSGO, and it could be a ton more kills where that came from. Flit looking for the ace, switches to the USP, gets it just about. It is an ace against an eco, so you can't really go too crazy, but still, 5 kills, more than welcome for Flit.
Puts him into the red vents. So we are going to have it... Or is it back in the black? That's what it meant. That's what I meant. Out of the red. Into the black.
CSGO pushes through the Molotov and decapitates Jerry, who is trying to push down Banana behind that. Beautiful opening pick, and I mean, CR4ZY. Sure, they've still got some life left in them yet.
Man, they've never really just laid down, have they? They've always been looking to put up a fight. That's what continues to make them look impressive to me. That mental composure does seem to be there. Like, even if they don't wind up winning, they've always, you know, changed things up, made adjustments, fought hard, never really backed down from their game plan of playing assertive Counter-Strike.
The economy for forZe, though, will allow them to potentially concede around here or there and still be okay. And Almaze are now tossing in the grenade over towards Banana. There is going to be a potential fight, a war zone kicking off over on the B side momentarily. Almaze is going to have his work cut out for him and may have some support coming through with Z Power. FaZe pushes through the smoke. The two players actually bypass one another, and DemQQ's gone down. There's no more players there. They know this is a wraparound. They know that's the look. And therefore, B site likely to be hit, but it's going to be a ruse. It's going to be the double fake, the double rotate here. They're going to try and send Sergis out onto B to make some noise, and meanwhile push the rest of their players onto A. And it has been successful, but there's a big kill from FaZe, his second of the round, keeping this round just about alive, trying to deny the bomb plant. He just charges straight into it, gets the kill, but will be fragged down from Toxic. I think he was thinking about maybe trying to get the defuse in amongst the smoke and get some of these T's out into the open, but now Almeza has to push through into second mid. How did he get the kill into Sergis? Had him dead to right. Toxic is still trying to stand his ground, still trying to keep this round somewhat in the scales towards the T's as Almeza pushes in. Last player up is Z Power. Both players are still very low. The bomb is ticking down in the meanwhile, but Z Power takes him out of the equation and has time for the defuse on 4 HP. forZe get it done.
Oh my goodness, what a wild ride that round was. Crazy, like you said, going back and forth on where that bomb was going to get planted. They were causing forZe to really scramble, and it looked like they had found an opening, but FaZe makes a brilliant play. Those 2 kills from FaZe had so much impact. I know he hasn't had the best KD ratio overall for the map, but in that particular round, he was really just kind of a savior for forZe. Gave them a window of opportunity to be able to pull the round back in, and they take full advantage of it, and they put themselves to now 1 round away from map point, a couple away from forcing a map 3. CR4ZY putting together the buy that they can. They did get the bomb plant, so that gives them some options, though as you can see, it's still not ideal. It's going to cause for some Galils to have to come out in order to be able to get utility and armor, and if this doesn't work, they've got nothing really, and that's probably forZe taking the map. So this is really all the eggs in this basket.
A huge amount rests on this round for CR4ZY, and even if they do win it, there's still plenty more distance they need to cover, plenty more fights they're going to have to really try and emerge victorious in. Flashbang grenades being exchanged across Bernard. Jerry landing at the top of sandbags, Molotov out onto the top of the wall area. They have been forced back. This is solid banana control from forZe. Not giving anything up.
That is absolutely true, though. They are running a little bit low on utility, so there might be something there for CR4ZY if they play their cards right. They themselves, though, don't have that much to work with, obviously. They're trying to push Z Power off this position, but Z Power's still able to find the shot. It's like the Molotov wasn't exactly placed right. Z Power found a way around it to keep vision on top, middle, and find a frag. That's brilliant stuff.
Z Power continues to shine brightly in this match. 17 kills, but it feels like all of them have been very impactful frags, most of which with the AWP. Sensei throwing over the flashbang, Galil in hand, 30 seconds. They're going to have to push behind this. Molotov deployed onto short. This is putting Z Power and Flit as the safeguards, the bastion on the site. Psycho going to go for a quick peek. And FaZe is sent reeling. 15 seconds. They've still got to push on the site. The kill's coming out. Is there enough time for Sergis? Z-Power just has to stay alive. They can see the barrel of the gun. He's going to get sprayed down. Enough time on the board for the plant. And now it's all about the post plant. Both players stuck on the site. They're not sure where these 2 CTs are coming from. This is going to keep them dangerous up close, but if there's any flashes, any grenades from their perspective, it could be a little bit scary, but forZe don't have them allocated. They're going to have to come through one by one. It's going to be a 1-on-4 trade early doors. Both players very low. Next bullet pretty much seals this up, but it's Sergis with the AK 1 versus 2 clutch, and CR4ZY do march forward.
They needed that round desperately. Again, they had invested all their money into it. If they lose it, forZe goes to map point, and they have nothing to work with when forZe goes for the W to force the third map. So getting that round means so much. They do have to rebuy all these players, though, so it still puts them in kind of a tough spot. But at least they've paved their way forward a bit more. At least they keep themselves in the hunt. And also, if they can win this round, they would force forZe to save, and that would get them to 12, and then they would be right in striking distance of forZe's lead. So, some really big rounds here, and they've already done so much early damage. Look at this, Almazer and Z Power down so very low as CR4ZY prepares for a very quick B attack, but Almazer on the edge of the smoke, able to find the frag, and Jerry has a very tough angle to deal with, and indeed it won't be. Psycho goes down. At least Sensei responds.
Now pushing through onto the B side. Jerry holding the line, dropping the bomb down, buying up time for Z-Power and the rest of the troops to start to rally together. Here, the beckoning call of the IGL. Flip. 1-for-1 trade goes in his favor against MQQ, and the T's have pretty much given this one up with Sensei trying to hold on to the AWP. He's moving back. It's looking like forZe is going to have 5 map points. And they're going to have a bit of time to mull this one over as well. 40 seconds left for Sensei to try and save the gun. And it's not as if forZe's economy is great either. I think they'll be okay actually just giving him this AWP. Saying like, fair enough, you can keep that, hold on to it. We're confident enough in our ability to close this out.
Especially knowing that there's not going to be a lot of money for CR4ZY to buy around it without a bomb plant. And how much they've drained their economy. I mean, even when they won that last round, they had to rebuy 4 players. So I think forZe kind of realized that, yeah, you'll have the AWP, but that's about all you're going to have. And they want to make sure that they have everything that they can possibly get out of this with their own money being very low. As I say that, though, Flit actually does eventually push through and find Sensei's AWP, making things even worse on CR4ZY and better for forZe, who retain their double op setup and the 2 rifles and can easily get something for their other teammate and get all the utility that they could want. And they're going to get 5 chances to force a 3rd map here. Meanwhile, if you're CR4ZY, I mean, yeah, use your timeouts. I mean, you might as well, but it's just like, what can you put together with this type of money? Sergey and Sensei, they can afford to be able to, you know, get AK armor, or you get Galil armor utility. The rest, it's tough. Like, do you go SMG armor utility? Do you get the Tech 9 to get even more utility? Obviously, the Tech 9 can be very powerful with its movement accuracy. And then it's just like, what play do you want to throw? Do you just want to go for some type of aggressive push? You know, do you want to try to play it slow and play it safe, which can be really hard to do when you don't have the firepower or utility to kind of play out a map control style? There's a lot of questions that they have to be asking themselves right now. I'm not really sure there's any great answers. It seems like this is just set up for forZe to finish. But CR4ZY have been impressive time and time again throughout the series, so I don't want to count them out just yet, but it does look pretty grim.
They can always re-go again on Mirage, which will be our final battleground if forZe do claim this round, or indeed one of the next 5, and take us to that all-important deciding 3rd map.
Yeah. The thing is, though, like, that's going to be such a mountainous task because that's probably the number 2 map after Inferno for forZe, when you look at their LAN results, at least. So it's not going to be really any easier for CR4ZY on that map, in my opinion.
CR4ZY deciding to elect to just back away, keep it around the spawn. Try and hold on to as much positioning as possible early on. It's only really DemQQ that's made moves, and he's in apps with a Mac 10. Stifling and stopping any aggressive apps take from forZe. They haven't really gone in for it too many times, though, to be honest. Cascade of flashbangs connecting on middle. Another one tossed in the banana, try and take some control for themselves. And now moving in, Almazer watching the cross with the AWP. 2 of them in play. First peek, yields the kill. That's a Molotov down as well. And the bomb follows suit. It's a double molly put in. So much damage on the cross, and it's looking like it's over. It's looking like the 3rd map is going to be coming up sooner rather than later. And indeed, it will be. forZe hold on. 16-10 in the end. Normal service has resumed. Will they be able to finish off the best of 3, though? Mirage will tell the tale.